I said any time in the next 2 weeks, this thing can break. And I actually meant it any time within hours to 2 weeks. For you to think of it in a price discovery, the market's a price discovery mechanism. Mm-hmm. And you've got long-term buyers coming in. Whenever it dips, someone buys the dip and says, I'll take that price. Thank you very much. So it's rejecting any lower price because people do want to buy it. And so if you get this history of it, I'll buy that, and then I'll buy that, and next higher price, you get this kind of pattern forming where this thing is discovering its natural price higher and higher. And certainly with Bitcoin being quite special, it's a market that's not at saturation. Publicly traded markets, commodities, gold, anything you can think of in the traditional world is at saturation. It's done its full penetration of its market base, people trading it, whereas Bitcoin, of course, is in this hyperbolic curve upwards as people adopt it. And so we're currently something like 50,000 more people that you can see on the blockchain per day coming in to buy it for the first time. So that means probably around 150,000 people all told, including the exchanges. They'll probably be seeing 150,000 people per day right now coming in. So obviously you've got these hordes of people coming in to buy it, and every dip you get, they're buying it. So you get these you'll see this sort of upward moving, every dip is brought up higher, and that would be explaining this particular triangle within Bitcoin. I reckon where we're at right now is sort of a halfway intermission. Every time miners sort of exceed their prior all-time high, the last one was 2017, obviously at the top of the market. Since then, we've had a halvening, so they're mining half the number of coins per 10-minute block. So they've got to make that up with higher prices. And we just kind of passed through that zone at the weeks, a few weeks ago, where we went into this consolidation band. If you look at whenever they go through this zone, price goes through like a consolidation. And if you remember the double pump of 2013 on the charts, that was that big sort of run up, and then it corrected, I think, 93%. People thought that was a bear market, but that was actually the consolidation of 2013 because it was such a volatile asset. And we saw the same thing in 2017. We had that first major dip around the 2,000, 2,500 zone. We went through this big consolidation. That marked the sort of a halfway point before we ran up again. So I think we're there. We're just sort of pausing, and we're just making that breakout. So it's interesting in this. I don't know exactly what's going to happen. How the price chart will shape till the end of this year, because things have accelerated so quickly. And if we have the same sort of quarter that we had in the first quarter, it seems too fast, and that would normally spell the bear market, and it might come early if it's going up at this rate. I use a bunch of models, but like the main one that I'm predicting the top on, that's a moving average essentially. It's something what tech traders would call a mean reversion model, and that simply is a moving average. Like a lot of people use moving averages on the price chart, and when it starts to run away from the moving average, you tend to think of that as being overheated, and it's going to come back to that average. And this is a special one, which it's not rocket science. It's essentially the all-time moving average. It's the cumulative moving average, like the entire average for the entire price of Bitcoin since year dot. It uses that as a metric, and it happens to have hit every single top that we've had in the history of Bitcoin.